How's it going, ladies and bruises? I'm Sixkilla and welcome back to the Chronicles of Tal'Dun. Let's just kick off, shall we? Because I don't know where this is going. I barely know where we're coming from, and I sure as shit don't know where we're going to. Anything could happen. We've awoken underwater, talking to a giant hermit crab. So who knows? The space is surprisingly cavernous. Rows of stone pillars disappear into a high vaulted ceiling. Desks, trinkets, and jars fill every corner, most of them in disarray. Huge glass tanks are strewn about the place, ominously shrouded in shadows. Through puddles of water over thick pipes snaking across the floor, we carefully tread toward them. Somewhere far below us, angry waves crash into the shore. My hands glide over a lantern as it buzzes to life, bathing the desk, and it's on in a feeble glow. My eyes are drawn to a thickly bound book and some papers scattered around it. Research notes? Oh. Yeah, man, rifle the notes. Rifle those notes. I run a finger over my initials, inscribing on the covers, and flip open the book pages, and pages of texts and diagrams. Let us see what you can tell me. Ilar grumbles. Must you? I think so. I don't look up from the pages. I would like to know more about what we're diving into, here if possible. Why don't you go search somewhere else in the meantime? Very well. They give me a look and then step away. Records of sublimation. Date 3/11/9547. The year 9547. Whew. Vessel weight 11 stones, 11 tussles. I underestimated the severe body and heart cost of the submersion rituals. After just one, I was so drained as to be bedridden for several moons. Unacceptable. I must find a reliable way to gain ample waters before each ritual, or I'll never finish in this lifetime. Too much is at stake. The Order must change its ways, or the civil unrest will only grow. Thankfully, Ilar is already on an expedition to find restorative herbs. I will keep trying until a better way is found. Turn the page. Give me more. Date 6/4/9547. Vessel weight 11 stones, 9 tussles. Submersion was resumed after Ilar returned with a haul of agari fungus from the far south. Its unnatural, invigorating properties, coupled with the 5 meals Ilar's been providing, has made my recovery tolerable. Although, it does make being around Ilar thoroughly distracting. I only learned later that the southern tribes use it for their seasonal carnal feasts. It's a price I'm willing to pay. I only hope Ilar does not partake of it, or things could become complicated. Keep going. 4/1/9548. Vessel weight 10 stones, 3 tussles. Expulsera was the answer. My expulsed flesh has now taken on the likeness of a fetus. I estimate it could reach full adult stature in 18 turns. Too long. How to hasten. It shows no signs of body or heart activity. Fantastic. A homunculus with no heart that holds waters. Oh, Lura, if I could prevent its decay, it could be the missing piece I was looking for. The tank and nutrient fluids are costly, but it would be worth it if no parent has to ever again watch their child's heart be cut away and their body turned into an empty vessel. Also, a magus can live a few meager decades longer. The unrest mounts. I must hurry. Submersion process. Though my vessel weight continues to decline, I am acclimated to the pain at least. Vyn. Keep going. Oh shit. 2/21/9552. Vessel weight 9 stones, 11 tussles. A breakthrough. After losing several homunculi to decay, I at last convinced Ilar to add both our waters to the tank. This stopped the decay and increased the growth rate tenfold. A mature specimen in under 2 turns. Ilar cautioned me about the potential danger here, but I reassured them that I'll not give too much at once. Vyn, come here. Even if we only get as far as perfecting the homunculi, it would still replace the thousands of human vessels sacrificed by magi every turn, and I plan to go further yet. Keep going. 8/16/9552. Vessel weight 8 stones, 7 tussles. What was I thinking? The loss of our body's mass is a boon, not a hindrance. Less vessel means less water is needed to fuel the rituals. I've reduced my intake to a bowl of succulent and herbs per day for the last few moons, and my vessel mass has dropped to 47 tussles. Ilar objects, but I've never felt more confident. They're concerned about many things, the homunculi's animation among them, but I'm not yet convinced it's an issue. Keep going. 359553. Vessel weight 8 stones 3 tussles. I finally verified for myself what Ilar reported, and decided that these things are of no concern. In cases where a person's heart has fled the vessel, the body can yet twitch, jitter, or move about in other ways before it dies. Our homunculi are simply kept alive indefinitely, so it should be expected that they behave the same. Ilar argues that the homunculi could be alive, but until I see clear evidence, they're only containers of waters. I must have my eyes on the goal, mass cultivation, enough to achieve sublimation. When I present sublimation to the profounded, they must surely cease sacrificing living vessels for waters. The protests and unrest will stop, the nobles will be pleased, the order will regain its prominence. I can see it all happening so clearly. Vyn, are you ignoring me on purpose? I look up. Ilar is marching towards me. Oh, how long was I here? There's so much more yet to read. I wonder if I'll have the chance to come back to it later. Come. They grab my hand and pull me along. I go along, too busy pondering what I've just read to protest. We pass several empty tanks until Ilar stops in front of one, still full of liquid. Was this what you're looking for? They sound tense. Taverny, yes. Those are the tanks from my memory. My voice trails off when I get close, enough to make out the tank's contents. What is that? I cover my mouth. The thick, filthy liquid is almost solid. Dissolved. But this one's still whole. They shake their head at another tank beside them. Pity. The milky eyes of the thing in the tank just turn in my direction. Then it jerks away until it's pressed against the far back, wildly looking about. Ilar knocks on the glass, making the figure flinch with each knock. Great work, huh? They scoff. This homunculus is the water storage we made? The general mentioned some animation, but this looks like a living being. A person. Close enough. What do you mean? I peer at Ilar. Ilar stares at me with lips curled in disgust. You made an empty vessel. Of course something would come to fill it. If one lights a torch, do moths not flock to the flame? I inhale sharply. Something has possessed the homunculus? A Lucasi? Ilar's eyes burn with such intensity that I fear I've said something wrong, but then they soften. This is a death sentence, a prison of torment. I imagine a Lucasi would know better. They run a hand through their hair and look away. No, this is a sunken. Poor sod. A sunken? A hollow, desperate being who in their hunger devoured their own power, left to helplessly drift on the currents. So it just landed in this homunculus and now is unable to leave? They nod. But I don't understand. I read that we did everything possible to prevent this from happening. We may as well have tried to dam the seas. Magi, always taking and manipulating, not caring whose blood they spill. Please calm down. Look, I'm not the one responsible for this. That's the old Vyn. Maybe, but you'll be responsible for what happens next. Ilar taps on the glass wistfully. What do we do with it? Ilar gives me a look that sends a chill up my neck. The only thing we can if we want to survive. The thing in the glass twitches and squirms uselessly against its prison wall. Blind eyes dart left and right. You mean we're going to take its waters? Ilar nods slowly. How? My mouth is dry. Ilar lays a hand softly on my neck, looks into my eyes and traces a line across my throat. I gulp and step back. No. Isn't that why you brought the knife? Ilar smirks. No, it's to defend myself. I squeeze the knife so tight it vibrates. Sure it is. Ilar stares at the homunculus. Is there another way? Ilar raises a brow at me. Come now. Don't pretend you haven't already decided to put it out of its misery. Put it out? It's not a sick dog. Ilar raises one hand. Look, we have precisely two choices. Choice one, we slit its throat. I absorb its waters for the ritual, and we don't get sucked into the abyss. They raise the other hand. Choice two, we spare it and wander around this cursed tower in the hopes of blindly stumbling upon another source of waters conveniently left behind. Could there be another source? I asked hopefully. That was rhetorical. They roll their eyes. We're not throwing away a sure thing. They slam an open palm into the glass. The knife twitches. Suddenly my breath is so shallow and heavy, I grasp the handle tight, but it squirms and won't shut up. Spare me. A musical voice pleads, drenched in fear. Ilar and I stare at each other. The voice would be musical and pleasing if it wasn't punctuated by harsh clicks and buzzes. We turn to the tank in unison. You hear that? Ilar's eyes are glued to the homunculus as they nod. Spare me. The voice doesn't come from any direction but springs up between my ears. The hairs on my neck stand up and I shudder. No, I can't do it. Ilar gulps, eyes shut, skin even paler than normal. Spare, it echoes inside. Poor thing. Lyra knows how long it's lived like this. I avoid its eyes. It might have been alive once, but now it's little more than a shell. Ilar turns away, shoulders shaking. For a moment I imagine I hear Abyss Devara's buzzing come through the thick stones above us, and shudder to think what it might look like now. Alright. Let me think this through. Say we have the waters for the ritual. How should we go about finding black salt? Ilar is silent for a moment, then sighs. My chambers. There's black salt there. Parts of the preparation have already been made. They have? When did you have time to do that? Before you woke up. That should save us some time. How long do you think we have until the Abyss Devara destroys the tower? Another quake makes the tank ring out in sympathy. They look at me with a searching gaze, shaking their head. What are you thinking? I'm thinking, suppose we spare this homunculus. What's our best chance of finding another source of waters? Ilar's mouth hangs open. Don't be absurd. Indulge me. Massaging the back of their neck, Ilar paces left to right. Your desk may yet hide secrets I'm not privy to. If it's still in one piece, then there's the higher parts of the tower. They sigh, hand dropping to their side. You realize what you're considering is suicide, yeah? I look at the thing in the tank. Ilar purses their lips. Waves crash below us. Water drips. Spare me. Well, what are we waiting for? Ilar's voice is ashen. Alright, let's go and look for it. We're probably going to die, but let's go look. I try saying in my heart, hello? Can you hear me? Spare me, it keeps repeating. I stomp my foot on the stone. Sink it, I can't do this. I fidget under Ilar's gaze. If something can ask it to be spared, it's alive enough for me, and I will not be a murderer. I say in my head to the homunculus, do not fear, we will not harm you. In a few moments, its looping pleas fall quiet. I grin at Ilar. See? I was right. They understand. Ilar blinks, their face caught in a tug of war between emotions. They say stiffly, but leaving a spirit in a vessel, even one this feeble. I rub the center of my chest. Spirit, homunculus, vessel, they're all just words I've never heard until today. How foolish would I be to think I understand their meanings? I chuckle. But what I do know is this. Even Sunkens want to live, just like me. So I'll not do it. What I would not want done to myself. Ilar has never stared at me speechless for so long, but finally they seem to snap out of it and shake their head. The old Vyn would not have chosen so. They turn to face the homunculus, shaking their head, brows tight. With just a quick swipe of their hand from Ilar, the homunculus's head slams into the tank. The sudden sickening crack makes me wince. A cloud of crimson blooms and enshrouds the now still figure. Ilar spreads both palms on the glass and closes their eyes, intoning in low, gravelly voice. Within a few breaths, the swirling blood turns black as coal and congeals into chunks. He killed him anyway! Come on! Ilar inhales sharply, sways and rests their sweat-beaded forehead on the glass. I take a step back, throat dry. You. My fist vibrates with tension. Why did you do that? Shrug. Frankly, you didn't seem up to the task, so you're welcome. I'm not gonna punch him. That doesn't seem very... No, that doesn't seem like we're getting anywhere like that. You had no right, I seethe. Right? The corner of their lip twists a little, as they give me a wry look. Would you rather die? Would you rather I die? I stare at the floor, chewing my lip. The choice between living and dying is no choice at all. We're only choosing to live. The rest is foam on the water. Their steady voice betrays no emotions. The floor rumbles. Has Abyss Devara influence reached even here? Speak of the wolf. They stand up and pull me to my feet. I cough. Right, let's move on. Chin raised and standing tall, they give me an easy grin. I have the waters. The ritual is at hand. They take my hands in theirs and lead me around the room. Humming a tone and smiling profusely, they tilt their head up to sniff the air before each mirror, until finally stopping before one frame. Ah, there it is. An odor, smoky and sweet, wafts out from the dimness beyond and brings a bitter taste to my mouth. I look at Ilar doubtfully. They gesture with a hand. After you. We step through the frame and into the warm, moist air. My stomach sinks, and my steps slow as I get closer. Cold shivers climb up my spine. Dark red streaks are smeared everywhere, and the smell, metallic and greasy, lingers in the air. I gulp, feeling like I've swallowed sand. What happened here? Everything is in such disarray, and it's hard to focus. My eyes move over things that should have names, but are now just an amorphous residue. Quite a sight, I know. Ilar's chuckle is almost not nervous as they put a hand on the small of my back and usher me inside. If I'd known you'd be coming here, I would have made it more cozy, but they click their tongue. You know how it is. Your non-answers are not going to cut it this time? A mess. Blink at the scene before me, at Ilar, and at the mess again. A quiet voice shouted inside of me. A mess? Ilar, this is... I don't think your non-answers are going to cut it this time. Vyn. Ilar cups my cheeks gently and whispers with urgency. We're here. We're almost done. Don't overthink it? I pull away with some difficulty. I want to trust him. Deverner I do, but... What happened here? What happened? They chuckle. They just killed someone. I don't really want to trust him. What happened? They chuckle. Then turn more serious, seeing the concern written on my face. I tried to protect you. Their hand glides up to the side of my arm, caressing. From what? An ugly truth. Breath catching, I step back, making myself look them in the eye. Will you finally tell me what you did to me? Their hands, now hanging in the air, clenches up. You think I did something to you? If not you, then you still will not admit it, will you? Lips thin, they spread their arms. Vyn, look around. What do you see? My eyes reluctantly glance over their red stains, marks of life spilled, the chaos, the remnants of desperation. They look at me impassive. You fool. You forgot. You ran away. The metallic greasy scent, the blood-filled vision flashes in my head. I gasp, stomach hit by a hollow feeling. All the words I had now gone. Ilar wraps their arms around me, lending some comfort with their frame. Here is where it must have happened. Whatever it was you went through, it was too much for you. That is why I protected you. That dream, I was here looking for you. My fingers dig into the cut on my wrist. I look down at the dry, crusted stains. There was so much blood. Shh, it's alright. They gently unwrap my hand from my wrist and kiss my bloody fingers. You can stop now. Stop plucking at the loose threads. You might unravel whatever defenses you put up to lock these horrible things away. They'll break you, and I couldn't bear watching it. We need to stay focused and do this while we still can. Droning and quiet screams float on the warm air. Do you hear that? I look up at them. They set their jaw, and Bistavara is coming. You can't do this without me, and I'm not doing this without answers. It's coming to us. Yes, and we have nowhere else to go. I put my hands on my hips and force a smirk. Good. Huh? They look at me, eyes narrowing. Then you'll have to tell me what I want to know, otherwise I will not help with the ritual. They glare at me. I cross my arms, resisting the urge to gulp. Their gaze turns diamond hard for a breath, lips pressed to paleness, but then they shake their head and sigh. Very well, but let us be quick about it. Tell me how I lost my memories. I know there's a story here. So many things don't add up. For instance, how come you can't just leave here? Why don't we just run away if it's so dangerous? We can come back with some help. How come Fuzzpants became ill not long ago? Is that not odd timing? And on top of it all, it feels like I was killing myself trying to achieve immortality or something akin to it. A tepid draft stirs the curtains, the buzzing scratches the stones. They grimace, running fingers through their hair. In a swift motion, their hand is around my arm, and I'm pulled into them, our noses almost touching. Listen. I half choke, half scoff in indignation. Stare at them. I stare at them, pulling my arm back. Their fingers dig into my flesh. No. Listen, they hiss. Screams wash over me like cold water. After a while, you can tell the screams apart. This one's a woman. This one was a thief. This one was a child of no more than a few moons. Bistavara is practically beating down the door. You really wouldn't like it if it gets to us. I promise you that. And you wouldn't like to hold me back from my freedom either. Do you understand? So hurry up, just a short version will do. By the looks of you, I would say it scares you more than it does me. So why don't we make this fast? I do not need the whole story, just the important parts. Their eyes bore holes into me as their fists are clenched. Fine. The words come through their teeth. Your great work, that's the reason we're here like this. You've dove so deep in it, so no one could follow you, not even me. Who knows what you found? Maybe it was just something so terrible that you had to throw away your memories just to remain sane. You don't know? How can you not know? You were my partner for depth's sake. How could you let something like that happen to me? They smile, helpless, and lean forward to put reassuring hands around my shoulders. Vyn, think about it. When you set your heart on a thing, you can be sinking stubborn, can't you? Maybe. I grumble. Their voice softens more. And if you think there's a good reason to keep something from me, you would, wouldn't you? I guess so. That's what I thought. They grin with narrowed eyes. Now think. If you threw away your memories and took pains to hide the act from me, then isn't it likely this is all part of your design? To make sure that I can't somehow bring them back to you? You're saying this is all part of my plan? My brows tighten, feeling dizzy. I don't... What you're saying is... There. Let's not be over hasty. Perhaps you had good reason to forget. Perhaps there is some misunderstanding. You said you found me like this. I gripped their wrist. That means you're not with me. Where were you? They blink, brows wrinkling. You weren't there. Otherwise, how can something like this have happened to me? Were you not my partner? Were you not supposed to watch my back? Their exasperation mounts. Ilar shakes their head and looks at me helplessly, but smiling still. No, my dear Vyn, you got it all wrong. They pace away from me, looking up wistfully. It was the other way around. I should have been gone long ago. But I guess I couldn't help sticking around. Out of some foolish hope, perhaps. I couldn't leave you to your fate. You might be angry at me, or even hate me. But I'm not what you think. I get it. It's hard to take this all in, but no matter what happened, shouldn't we deal with the Abyss Devourer first? I squeeze my wrist, feeling the warmth flow. They give my shoulder a shake. I almost don't feel it through the cold fog. They gently pry at my fingers until they get my hand loose. Then their arms are around me, and they're stroking my head. It's alright. We're almost through this. You haven't given me any answers still, guy. My throat tightens, a sob almost breaking through. I let it out in long, shaky breaths, one after another. Ilar pulls back, looking softly at me. Let's do the ritual and set ourselves free, I'll play along for a little while longer. Ilar gives my arm a squeeze and looks at the messy floor. There should be a small broom somewhere. Can you find it? We should collect the salt. I will look for the other things we need. They start rummaging. I dig through the pile of items. The carpet was just thrown away to make space. Garments simply rolled up into it, and a small hand broom. Looks fancy. Found it. Great, just sweep the salt into one pile. I'll join you in a moment. I crouch and start collecting the black salt. It hisses along the stone. Dust in the air shies away from it. Sticky, crimson streaks stain my fingers. Ugh. My nose wrinkles. A shiver runs through me. Why am I so afraid of it? It's as if my body knows it's bad news. Depth, if only I could ask the body all the things it knows. No, squeeze the cut on my wrist, get back to sweeping. I squeeze the cut again. The hot pains cut through the cold in me. Focus, Vyn. Time is flowing. Hiss, scrape. All the black powder is in a pile. Is it warming up, or did I exert myself more than I thought? I wipe my forehead and look back. Ah! Ilar is standing behind me. They're holding a pointy metal tube the length of a palm and a sort of flat spoon. I sigh and nod toward the objects. What are those? Chak purr for dispensing salt accurately. They peer over my shoulder at the empty floor and then at me. You did well. Now give me some room. The sigil shall require some concentration. You're tired. This has been an ordeal, I'm sure. Just sit tight and don't distract me. They bend down and scoop up some salt and start with the sigil. Annoyance blooms in me, but they're working already. I sigh and sit down on the edge of the bed, craning my neck to observe the drawing process carefully. Ilar's face is locked in concentration. They filled the tube with salt, and are now giving it gentle taps with the spoon, making the content flow evenly from the tip, tracing the shape of the sigil on the floor. The lines are so smooth it's uncanny. It's quiet, save for the hissing of the sand and the faint screams drifting from Abyss Devourer. My eyes dart this way and that, finding no place to rest among the mess all around me. It's all wrong. Everything is out of place. I pull at the bed that's half dragging on the floor. Some things fall out as I throw it onto the bed. What have we here? I whisper to the pieces of paper. One of them is larger and seems to be nearly torn to pieces. Another is smaller and damp. The third is just a strip. Letters? Well, I'm not doing anything, so I might as well. Read the letters. Unfold the strip. Why do sea spirits never laugh at mortal humor? It's too dry. It's a joke. What the hell? I don't know how I feel about this. Unravel the large torn one. You should stop for once and think about who you're trying to impress. Your parents, your teachers, who don't even remember your name. Everybody around you. Don't you want to escape the shadow cast by their expectations? Your name will be on their lips for a month, a year, a century, and then what? You become just one of the facts quoted from books. Everything ends. It's as foolish to fight it as it is to wrestle the ocean. You're already good enough. You've already achieved so much. Who cares what they think? We're here together. You can stop now and it's okay. It'll be okay. I promise you. I promise. This is from Ilar. I never thought they could be so harsh. That doesn't sound harsh. That sounds good. Wait, what am I thinking? I look at the cut. Of course they're harsh. Why am I even surprised? That was harsh, yeah. The small damp one? I'm sorry, I wasn't myself. I know your heart's in the right place. It's just hard for me to see you go through this. Please open the door. Let's talk like we used to. We came to a point of not even talking to one another. I look at their back, biting my lip. Will we be able to talk? Really talk once all this is behind us? I doubt it. I sigh. I don't understand them. It just doesn't make sense. He's treated us like crap the entire time we've been here, so I don't think so. Ilar's eyes do not leave the drawing until the whole thing is finished. Finally, they exhale with a nod and nod with satisfaction. This will do. A pitch-black circle spans nearly the entire floor. So many figures interlocking. It does look like a gate. They clap their hands in anticipation. Come here. Careful. Don't disturb the salt. As I enter the circle, a thick silence envelops me, as if the world went to sleep around me. Sit here. Hands gripping my shoulders, they move me into place and push me down. Now, how this will work is, they sit across from me. I will sing the mantra and lead the ritual. When the sigil activates, touch the blade to your skin and let out a bit of blood. This will connect your waters with the currents. Stroking the back of my hand reassuringly, they continue. You must think only of merging your waters with mine, nothing else. Even if there is some pain or confusion, do not resist. This is the way magic has been done since the old days. So simply give in to me, and I will guide us, understand? They squeeze my arms, their smile full of confidence. You can do this. Don't let me down, alright? I've spent a lot of time letting you down this entire playthrough so far, so I don't know, man. I don't know why you trust me. Waves of heat are now washing into the room, shimmering currents thick enough to see, although you haven't made yourself likable in a way that I want to trust you either. So who knows? Will there be sensations? Anything else I should know? Well, it might feel weird, like an intrusion, but please do your best to not resist me, even if you have an urge to do so. I don't know if losing a memory's impacted your inner reflexes. Sharing of power is the foundation of magi partnership, something we did often, but now, who knows? Try to trust me and give in to the flow of waters. They smile again and squeeze my wrist. I wince. You enjoy making me bleed, don't you? They wink and lower me to the floor with a hand on my shoulder, then sit down in front of me. That's not cute, you know. I looked to Ilar one last time. Tendrils of shimmering air flash with terrible intensity. There are things in them. Something alive. Faces, limbs. Is that what they're seeing? No more time for curiosity. No more time. Eyes clamped shut, I ready myself for the ritual. It's so loud, this silence. I count the scratches I make with my nails. It doesn't help. I focus on the pain on my wrist, but the heat is louder. It keeps coming in, pushing out my breaths. The mantra is barely a whisper, but it makes me tremble. It makes the air tremble. Even the stone beneath me is trembling. Something approaches. Translucent shapes glow in the dimness. My throat tightens as waves of them close in on me. They splash against the invisible barrier made by the black salt, sending particles into the air, all in delirious slow motion. The black sand buzzes and hums unmoved. Another wave comes, as eerily slow as the first. It dashes to splinters. The black sand moans. Wave after wave, higher and higher the ghostly waters come. Higher and higher the humming rises. It is now a steady drone. It's singing. Divana. The black sand sings with the mantra, its shape shifting as the sounds do. It reverberates through me, making my bones sore from the inside. Oh, Laura, the singing. The terrible, wonderful singing. Whoa, that's cool. That's a pretty impressive effect, huh? A sensation licks at the edge of my consciousness. Ilar's voice rises, singing the mantra. The words make my crown tingle. The sensation presses into me, searching, looking for a weak spot, for a way in. I guess we have no choice. If we don't allow it, the Abyss Devourer kills us. If we allow it, either we survive or this guy kills us. At least we got a way out, otherwise. I sigh deeply and embrace the feeling, letting it course through me. The feeling of satisfaction fills my head. It follows the movements of my heart, trying to mimic them, trying to match my inner rhythm. I feel it touching the strings, connecting me to the flesh, to my flesh and embracing them, enveloping them, rushing in glee. I sink the knife into the old cut. A spark shoots up behind my eyes, and then liquid bliss drifts up my arm. Ah, I sigh. It must be working now. Everything will be alright. Through the tiny gap of clarity, I look down. The red thread swims out of the wound as if pulled by a ghostly hand, tracing a perfect straight line through the air. The red, so beautiful, so lovely, it makes me smile. Hey, a colour that isn't green. That's quite stunning when you've only seen green the whole game. Its traces indicate intricate angular patterns in the air as more threads emerge. They weave, they dance, they bloom into what must be a divinic flower. How can something be so beautiful, I laugh? How can something smell so sweet, so familiar? The mantra pulls me forward, ever forward, higher into this new place. Tears flow. I'm so terrified, I'm so happy, I'm so relieved. I'm rising to the center of the flower. It's so beautiful, so beautiful. Distorted shapes and fuzzy outlines dance to the deafening symphony. Is that the Abyss Devourer? Is Ilar shutting the gate? I'm here for you. Use my waters. Do what must be done. I'm burning up. Fire flows into my wound, into my veins snaking up through my body. With every turn it makes inside, I gasp with excruciating bliss. I want to scream. Am I already screaming? Ilar, I call out. All I hear is the symphony. Where are you? Are we succeeding? The crimson flower grows and shudders as the song reaches a fever pitch, as the meshwork of scorching heat within me dances to it. The hum turns into a steady, piercing tone, so bright it blinds the heart, blinds all senses. Heat reaches a zenith and flips into freezing cold, burning and freezing, thawing and melting over and over. I observe it, watch this movement within the movements within me. There is a stain on the bright flow, a bitter note. What is this? I reach for it, wishing to release, to make it pure again. The feeling of wrongness overwhelms me. Regret and despair shoot through me. Ilar? The urgency presses on me, tearing me away, back to the surface. What is this? How much time has passed? I try to open my eyes. Nothing happens. I panic, trying to move my arms. Nothing happens. What? Shh, it's almost over now. Ilar, I can't move. What's happening? A surge of satisfaction courses through me, making me gasp in pleasure. What are you doing? The current of sensations flows even deeper inward, opening and examining, leaving nothing untouched. I want to stop, but how can a leaf fight a river? I feel my edges dissolving, melting into this much stronger current. Accept it. There is nothing more you can do. It's over, the voice whispers. Well, the veil of night lifts. The lazy glow of Sruthrul washes over the tower. Warm light sets countless dewdrops to glinting, but it doesn't dare wander into the shadows behind the great grandmother tree. At its foot, on the damp grass, a figure stirs. They let out a faint hiss, then a bout of writhing and shuddering gasps. After some time, they catch their breath and begin to stretch, slowly, almost timidly at first, gracefully extending and unwinding every fibre and tendon, like a bear who'd slept all winter and was remembering what it was like to wake and move again. The birds do not sing. The insects do not stir. All is silent in the garden. There's only the quiet breaths of the figure who looks as though they've fallen back to sleep. But then their shoulders start to shake. Small at first, the shaking slowly winds up, growing in intensity until it's nearly a convulsion born of some dire affliction. The figure's head is buried in their hands as wetness flows down their face, and a wheezing, breathy sound escapes and reverberates in the enormous empty tower grounds of the magi. Oh man, it was the ending. Well, in that case, I'm going to tack that on. We're going to wrap this one up here. And yeah, I guess maybe we can go back to not accept when he says we have to give in to him or whatever. I'm curious about that. We'll go back to that and see what happens then, or shit, I don't really know what to do. I didn't really save up most of the choices because the choices are all on a timer. So I don't know. I'll leave it up to you guys. If you want to see more, let me know that you want to see more. If not, we can move on to other things. But I'm interested. I'm definitely interested to see more if you guys are. But if not, there's plenty of other things we need to get done. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.